Okay, welcome to another episode of Chaddy Issues, the podcast where we unpack the chaos, the confusion, and the occasional clarity of modern relationships. Today's episode is a big one. We're talking not just divorce or the legal process, but the emotional aftershock, the identity shift, the quiet moments where you realize the life you built is no longer yours. And then, because life doesn't pause, we jump straight into something completely different. So let's start here. Nobody really prepares you for what happens after divorce. People talk about custody, finances, and splitting assets, but no one talks enough about the psychological vacuum. And I think between the three of us, there's a bit of mileage when it comes to all that. And we're almost a clock back ex-taxi from Fowles Auctions when it comes to the psychological vacuum. So you go from we to me overnight, and that sounds freeing, and sometimes it is, but it's also disorientating. I'm sure we can agree. You start questioning everything. Who am I without this relationship? What did I do wrong? Can I trust my own judgment again? And maybe the biggest one was that the best I could do? The question sits quietly in the background and it follows you straight onto the dating apps. One of my favorite topics in the world to talk about are the dating apps, because it's not something one can reply to in one sentence, and probably not even in 5 pages. So on that, Louis, what's your experience with dating apps?
Most of the experiences on dating apps, I actually found quite humorous. You learn a lot.
You've got to have thick skin, man.
Oh, it's not so much thick skin. I think once you get to our age, it's like people, if you're going to put yourself out there, you got to have some inkling of what, not your ideal. I don't think there's such a thing as an ideal person, but you got to have some points in there that you know, based on past experiences. If you haven't taken away and looked at yourself internally, and molded yourself into where you went wrong and where your partner might have gone wrong, and
move forward.
And that's exactly right, because we can't dwell. Me personally, I don't think the more you're focusing on where we've been, I don't think you're in the right mindset to go to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. That was just my perspective on the dating apps. I thought it was humorous. It was nothing that I thought I'd ever entertain, to be honest with you, based on the fact that being a young guy and, you know, single through to 20 to 25, which was a decision that I made, knowing that I was going overseas, didn't want to be tied down. And I think to myself back now, and I've given my boys the same advice, one of my boys has just split up from a relationship, and it was his first relationship. And he says he wants to have nothing to do with women at the moment. And I giggle and laugh, because what happens is when you say, I'm not interested in women, and you go about your business, is when the women start throwing themselves at you.
That's called the condom theory.
Yeah. So you're not actually standing there looking. And what I mean by that was, I remember back in the day, and you guys could remember, I had these older girls come up to us at the saloon, and we would go out, the four of us, and we would just be conversing amongst one another, having a shot, drinking, laughing. And women in groups would come up and go and want to join our conversation. They go, you're about the only guys in this place that aren't leaning against the wall, checking out every girl walking past. Mm. And at that stage, I couldn't click what she said. So she goes, come with me. And she showed me. What an eye-opener it is. And I totally understood. Now, this girl being probably, well, when I mean older, she's probably in her early 30s and we were in our early 20s, which girls were very mature at that age, right? And it's so true. I mean, you see the guys, they're not facing each other, they're not talking, we're leaning against the wall like the wall behind us, and we're facing a dance floor. And every girl, the heads move at the same time, and we're nudging each other. It just looks so grotesque.
So going from that, how did you get on the apps, and what did that look like?
Okay, jumped on the apps around, well, during COVID actually, around the start of it. Had a good mate mention it to me. Did I think I'd ever be on it? No. Initially took it on board as, if I'm going to go on something, because it's unfamiliar.
So why weren't you on it?
Oh, look, I wasn't ready, mate. I really wasn't ready, and it wasn't in my radar.
I respect that, because very few people will say that, and I actually, yeah.
I'll tell you why I wasn't ready, Chad, because obviously my story's a bit different. What happened with my wife, it's obviously known about. So my focus was kids at that time. I did have a short relationship briefly for about 3 to 4 months, and I identified pretty quick that I wasn't able to give 100% because there was still a lot of focus going on the kids. Okay, so that was the focus after the tragedy and the trauma that they went through. I'm not touching on that. That I had to be there for them, being, I think, 9, 11, 13. So quite young, just having dad around. Fair responsibility, and I wasn't going to be selfish about it. But not at any stage did I think I'd be by myself in regards to looking down the track. I didn't think that my life would be single dad and that's it, and grow old in that sense.
You never think, you never anticipate. That's the key.
So
you don't go down the aisle thinking, I can't wait to fuck you up or whatever is going to unfold in 11 years' time. We'll see you there.
Yeah.
You planned that this is like everyone before you that you got the idea from. I had older siblings, right?
So that's what I really respect about you. Is you 1,000% committed? And I'll be honest,
I was a married man. I was just this is what you
I
did.
wasn't.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I really respect that, and
Yeah.
that's why, like, between us, there's like 3 different angles.
Yeah. I get
There's
it.
so much value to others.
look, I'll be honest with you. When I met my wife, I was traveling through Europe, and this is just a brief take. And I think whether you're old, young, or middle age, it doesn't really matter. There is a lot of this going on today, and this is probably more to the younger youth. And I talk to my kids about this, is that I remember saying to them a conversation I had with their mum about 3 months into our relationship. I was 25, she was 22, 23. I remember pulling her aside and just said, listen, I can understand that you can fall out of love with somebody, but please, I can respect the fact that if you come up to me and say, this is not working, I'm falling out of love, and we go our separate ways, but please don't cheat on me, because I'll never do that to you. Okay, so I don't think people take on board on the way I was putting that across was, do you want that to happen to you? No. So why would you do it to someone else?
I've got a remedy. I'll mention this
So
in
John,
the past.
just before you do, I just want to get the quick experience of dating apps. I'll get your side.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to all that. So I want to structure it properly.
So for me, just for the younger generation out there, no one would feel good being cheated on, right? So therefore, you know what? Be upfront and be honest. We can all move on from a relationship as long as we're honest about it. And it's taking to that person that you're with. Look, married couples fall out of love. And
I'm going to keep picking at you because I want your dating app experience. Put that aside for
Okay.
now. We're
Anyway.
gonna that's it. Yeah.
so with the dating apps, getting on there and scrolling and looking at pictures, I found very, very unnormal. If
I
such a
loved
thing.
it.
No,
I loved it.
No, it actually done my head into the point where my mate that I was walking with during COVID down the beach found it more exciting and take my phone.
He's probably married.
Exactly, he was.
That's right into his life.
No, seriously, and we'd walk for an hour and a half, and he's scrolling through there and going, "Oh, well, what about this one here?"
Can I be honest? Because when I was married and my mates are showing me their dating app stuff, I'm thinking, look, I don't plan on getting divorced, but mate, as soon as someone pulls the trigger, I'm straight on those things.
No, I was,
Yeah.
I was,
And it wasn't for the sex. It was just like I found them exciting.
nah, for me, it done my head in.
Yeah,
It done my head in.
I'm with you.
I'm used
with you.
to this.
Fucking cook to me.
For me, what I find attractive is in a woman is having that conversation and staring across somebody.
Yeah.
That's where the connection lies, because at some point,
Can't do it like that,
yeah,
mate.
at some point, this person has to be visually in front of you,
You had
right?
the right attitude. I didn't. For me, it was like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay.
Which, right.
Okay,
So,
well, we'll hear about your
and that's
story.
why you're the father, he's the son, and I'm the Holy Ghost
Yeah.
in all this, right?
You were quite starved though too.
So
One meal.
anyway, if we're fast forwarding to today, what I got pointed out by my partner today, which I actually met through a dating app, was that apparently I had a lot of rules in place. Do you know what I mean? So when I spoke on the phone, there was things in place, and I said, well, there weren't so much rules that I wasn't going to budge off, but I think it was important to meet on a very casual level. So for me, it was coffee. Whether you like it or not, well, we won't get past coffee if you think you want to be taken out for dinner. So automatically, do I want to be with someone that's not on my level and go out casually? Anybody can dress up, right? Dress up in nice clothes. But my point was, this is why we need a phone conversation. And I was big on phone conversations based on the fact that if we could talk for half an hour to an hour on the phone a couple of times prior to meeting, that means that it won't be uncomfortable when we're there in person to have a coffee that might last 45 minutes. Then that way we've taken the next step and going, you've seen the person visually in front of you, you see their persona, the way they carry themselves, and everything like that. It's just totally different to what you actually said, John, was what's attractive about looking at something like that?
So-
You're flicking through a magazine.
How do you
and everyone's
connect? How do you connect through a phone screen?
So
right? You can't.
What I'm hearing is you didn't like the whole transactional side of it, but you knew that's modern society.
Absolutely.
But you also knew who you were about, you knew where you wanted to be, more importantly,
Yeah.
and you had some non-negotiable for yourself and some personal standards, which is great. So just on that, I want Louis' words in. What's your advice to anyone that's been married and about to get on them? Just a quick, how would you describe what you're about to tap into? And like how do you even begin to describe it to someone who's about to?
Easy. Get to meeting someone as quick as possible. If you match, right? Well, you've matched, right? You've matched for a reason, right? Something tickles your fancy. I'll leave it to one phone call, right? To break the ice, to hear the voice. I don't know. I'm a voice person.
Such a
and I'm
powerful
a
thing.
flow of a conversation person because for me, obviously, I'm the dominant one when it comes to talking, have been all my life. It's nothing uncommon to me, but I won't change. It's either going to fall in your lap and you're going to enjoy that, or it's not and it's going to be too much for you. I don't get hurt by that. If we're connecting,
What you said there about blending in, fall into that's 1,000%. Things, it shouldn't be like chalk and cheese. It shouldn't be like oil and water. It needs to be blend, yin and yang. Yeah, it's actually a very good.
so the advice is pretty basic, and I took it pretty basic. Is meet, and you will know within a couple of minutes from the person walking in the room to sitting in front of you to whether it's a walk down the beach or whatever. The casual atmosphere for me was always the go because a coffee date can only last for half an hour. It's not uncomfortable for both parties. You have your coffee and you can go. The dinner thing, are you going to sit there
You don't need
if you
to.
don't connect?
You don't need to.
You know, and it's like, why would I put a female or myself that I've met online in an uncomfortable
Just
position?
rip the Band-Aid off and move
I've
forward.
made that. I've made
Jones-
that. I've made
Jonesy-
even recently. I've made that mistake.
Jonesy,
You cut the ear with a knife.
I'm genuinely excited to ask you the same question. And I'm not only excited because it's going to add value, but I think you're going to have a very unique blend of humor when it comes to this because you've also had your own, what's the best word for it? Your own exciting, enriching, soul-searching
Messes.
Sorry,
Messes.
yeah, car accidents. No, but on a serious note, what's John Kimileri's take or experience with the dating apps, and what's the best bit of advice to anyone about to embark on trash and treasure / fouls auctions /
Yeah, all
the
right.
reject shop
The
/
ex-taxis,
the clock back ex-taxi.
The ex-taxi that was yellow is now black.
Yeah. And that goes for men. We're not. We're just talking about everyone.
We're not hanging shit on anyone.
Let's face it. When you go through whatever, you know you're gonna have some few scratch and dents and all of us scratches and dents.
Yeah.
But
Don't you?
everyone has
That's
had
cool.
everyone's carrying stuff, and just before John starts, it's okay to briefly touch on our past experiences. I think when we go on these dates, but not overdoing them.
That can't be the subject
And-
content.
and you know what?
Unless
you're not
it's
over it. You keep
unless
going over it, yeah?
Unless it's asked,
Yeah.
because some people do want to know what happened in your previous relationship to touch
Yeah.
on. But
Keep it brief when you do.
So
That's the key.
be as truthful as possible, but add value to the date. Once you know what you're saying is going to lower the frequency, switch it off,
Get it off it,
and move forward. Jonesy, please fire away.
Mate, I reckon I'm in ways still learning. Like I've had cases where, so I mean, my primary relationship ended probably 12 or 13 years ago, and I've had relationships that have lasted weeks. I've had a couple have lasted like a year or two. A lot of them came from different parts. One of them I actually pulled over to help out at a car accident. Here's a story for you, right? T-bone, whatever the case is, pushed the chick's car out of the way. The panel beater recommended she had a nice car. So go to these panel beaters. They're really good. Their work's amazing. They started selling me to her. Next thing you know, it was a date and a relationship, right? Pulled over to help someone. there's been cases with dating apps where, like, how much do you take on face value? I'm very much on your wavelength. Where okay, cool. You might see something. It's a pretty quick decision, right? And you try and engage, and if you get the match and you see where it goes. Now, I fell on my face a few times when you get there. It's like, that's not what I swiped on. I actually walked out on one, right?
Yeah.
So it's conversation, back and forth, your common interest, and all the bullshit, the banter.
Is
right?
that just a stand up and walk off, or is it a buy, see, this ain't working?
Man, I walked into the restaurant. This is a true story, right? This is Ackland Street, right? Rococo. And I got fucking, because you got messaging abilities in these apps as well too, like in real time. You know, I'm here. I'm at fucking. I'm looking at the photo. I don't recognise the person. It's a true story. So I'm fucking. I've been had here, right? Someone's taking the piss, and then I'm here, and she put her hand up, walked across. I don't know if they know how it works. Some of these people, you sort of swipe left or right on what you like. That was not.
Hang on,
there.
Jonesy, hang on. So to give you an idea, you saw the beautiful brochure,
Yeah.
and what did you really like? What's the discrepancy
The
between
brochure was of an abandoned development site in reality, mate, is what I'm going to call it, right? This wasn't matching. And I like, you know, by the time you get there, you've invested a bit of time, you've let down your guard a little bit, and you're sort of a bit raw to it all because you've come out of a long-term relationship. It's fucking new ground again. It's like you've rewound the clock 10, 15 years and like you're an 18, 20-year-old kid again. You got those nerves, those butterflies.
Well, that's very true, actually.
I found, right? You start questioning yourself and all kinds of
like
shit,
you
yeah?
said, in the back of your head as well, like you said, you were 1,000% committed to your marriage. So like, you're already like trying to deal with how did my life get here, but we're here anyway,
Yeah,
and we're trying to move
we have
forward.
to deal with it, yeah.
But we don't change our foundations of who we are and the
No.
way we're brought up and the respect that we have for women. And,
Okay.
I was brought up in that
100%.
way. So the next woman is going to get the same Johnny and the same Lou coming out because that's authentic me.
Yeah. So imagine turning up
that's
to the
actually
date,
a very
right?
good point. Just because you've been wronged, you felt disheartened. You don't.
Of course you look. Of course you look within.
Yeah.
Like I said
100%
earlier,
you do.
you look within and you grow, and you
You
got to
don't make the next person suffer for it.
But what you got to remember is that it's two people, and what I did learn from my current partner, which is correct, that, and I didn't know this until afterwards, because I used to take things on face value on the date, and it would be what my ex did and so forth. You know, when you're touching on it. But what I didn't understand until Tam brought it to my attention was there's always two sides to every story.
Three.
Right?
Three, brother.
Or three.
Three.
And
Yeah.
then I started thinking to myself, yeah, she's right. Because when I took on the story on face value with a few of the dates I went on, as we continued to chat on the phone, the cracks started to appear, and I'm thinking they don't match her words. You with me?
Time
so
reveals.
slowly things are slipping up.
They unpack, right?
Exactly. And I
Just to finish off on that particular incident. So
Oh,
I've
I'm
now
not gonna let you off the hook.
identified this person, right? And I went across, and it was something like, you understand how this works, yeah? It's left and right. Now, when was this photo taken?
Hang on.
This
You're
is
saying this to yourself, or
nah. I actually said this to her. By the time you get there, right? I've driven. You've made all this effort to get there.
it's not disappointment, is it though?
It's
Or
not
is it-
disappointment.
did you
but
at
to
least
be
say?
fucking
Did
lied
you at
to.
least say hi? Hi, how are you?
Sorry.
Yeah, but
No,
Chad,
did you at
Chad,
least say? Hang on, did you
I
at least
went
say?
straight into it, mate, because that was not the
So
person.
did you sit down or did you?
I didn't even sit down. I left.
Chad, and that's not harsh.
I'm sorry
right?
to tell you, but you're lying to me. That's the foundation of anything. That's
You know
how it
what?
starts.
I'm laughing.
You got to be kidding me, man.
But
Come on.
There's a lesson in that. There is, yeah.
Johnny,
Don't do
what
it to
you
bro.
said exactly there, I said to a woman, right? And she said to me when I questioned her about how old her photos were, prior to that, my daughter explained to me that, Dad, that's a filter. I had no idea what a filter is, right?
Hello.
So as I'm scrolling, she's showing me what a filter is. And my first thought is, why is a 45 to 55-year-old woman? And I go, Alice, are you telling me that this woman doesn't look like this? Until I saw it firsthand.
Yep.
And I look at it exactly the way John did. To me, that is a lie.
All right. So hold.
Because-
It's not right. It's not the right thing to do,
It's
right?
not you.
I left
Okay.
chat. God's honest truth. I literally said to her, "You understand how this works? It's not right to do that. Something along these lines." And I literally said to her, sorry, I'm not having it. And I left.
John,
And the waitresses were like, he just got here. Where's he fucking going?
John, you know
I
what?
got out of there.
Even though I was laughing
angry.
initially, I'm going to focus on actually.
Yeah.
It's a great lesson. You got to have your non-negotiables. If you go through this and you don't have your non-negotiables, then you haven't learned anything. I just want to now. I want to stay on that.
But it's not all bad either, yeah?
No,
I mean, there are good experiences. Like, God bless you found your partner
Yeah,
through the same means.
But that wasn't easy though either. But the fact is, I think you got to be both understand that it's not all a honeymoon period at the start.
No.
You think that it is, but because we're older, mate, everyone's carrying a little bit, and we can't just click it. We think we're ready, but until we meet someone, we
want it.
realise,
Yeah.
you know, there's a hump here, there's a right turn here, rather than thinking, you know, tunnel vision, full steam ahead, what people call the honeymoon period. I think there's a honeymoon period, I think, when we're younger.
There's a thing in life called theory.
I've had a casualty in my life.
There's a thing in life called theory and prac, right? So when you're going new relationship, dating apps, a new job, reality and theory, right? You just got to understand the two, and you got to have patience with both, and you got to have thick skin. Going back to that, going back to that. So that's the first experience.
Well, that was one of them. It wasn't the first. I mean, the one that I met helping her out with the car accident, she actually was probably, no kidding, she was an amazing girl, but there was some stuff in her past that was about to turn up again, right? So her former partner.
Serious stuff.
Oh, yeah. And we're talking it, you know, if this surfaced again, it was going to put myself and my daughters in a safety firing line. So I had to make a decision, right? And I won't go into details, but we're talking criminal stuff here, right? From like nothing to do with her, but that was of the partner. Yeah, okay, not having that either, right? There was times I got hit up by a mum, school drop-off of all things, right? That became a thing. And the others were obviously, you know, the dating apps. And there was times I just switched off completely. I'm like, you know what?
Yeah,
I just need my peace for the moment. I need to ground myself. Because what I found, even through the apps, and you can look back and go, right, since I've been married, I've had this person. None of them's worked out, right? For me, it's been 10, 12 years, so it's not like I've been getting around a hell of a lot, really. And you start to realise the similarities that keep popping up. For me, I found anyway. So the core thing about that, common denominator, this bloke over here. Well, okay, there's something I need to adjust within myself because I don't really want to attract that again, be it through a phone screen or in real time. Personally, I mean, I know everything's dating apps these days. For me, it was a reluctant thing to do. And it's like the older person that gets shown the new technology for argument's sake. Like, I like the old days where you'd meet a person, you'd click with someone, something like that spark in a moment. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna wrap.
How do you get that from this shit?
I'm gonna wrap yours up.
You know what I mean?
With this. So, quick 30-second advice to anyone about to embark on the world of dating apps.
30 seconds of advice of someone that actually is still figuring out for himself. I probably look a bit with what Liz said. Yeah, have your standards. If something reads ridiculous to you, don't even give it a second thought.
Nah.
Right? Yeah, some need to be the special edition and they proclaim to, I don't know, I whisper to cats or some shit that they invent, right? I don't know how to fuck to consider that as something serious that, oh, geez, I like that idea, right? We'll go there. No. Simple thing, if you swipe left or right, it's swiping left or right for a reason. If it doesn't grab you, just next. Just next.
Can I just...
Because they're doing it to you too.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how it is. It's a turnover thing.
Can I just add one thing? I'm sure you're going to agree on this.
Humour me.
Do not ever entertain a chick with a messy bedroom or messy bathroom.
100%.
So much in that, right?
Another story there too, mate. Dating app extraordinaire. So we hit it off. This person worked in the same industry as me. I got to a house, right? So, you know, if it sort of became a date, became a second date, it was going somewhere. And, you know, some might call that the home run. Got to a house. I took one look around. I'm like, I'm not fucking hanging around for this.
But
crime scene.
I know what I say in my head.
Right.
What does John say to himself? Why?
that is psychologically, as it was told to me, that's a representation of your mind. If your settings
1,000%.
a mess, you got unfinished business, you got shit you haven't put away, you haven't maintained, you haven't cleaned up. That's all what's going on here. It's all clutter in your head too.
John, 1,000%.
Forget it. How can they focus on you?
John, 1,000%.
You can't get a clear conversation because it's too much
do
grey.
you know, without taking your moment in the sun away from you, when chick would say, "I'll send me a photo" or whatever, do you know what I'd say to him? Cool. I need a photo from you. Like, thinking, what do you want me to take off?
Rage hood, oven.
No. Take a photo of your pantry. What? Yeah, take a photo of your pantry. She's like, what? Just take a photo of your pantry. So if her pantry wasn't full and sorted,
Yep.
that told me where her heart and her mind was. Right? If there's nothing in the pantry or if there's shit in there, it's everywhere, to me, that's where her heart and soul is. I'm sorry. There's a structured life, structured house, structured mind, structured soul. And every day you dye the color of your soul with your thoughts.
Yeah, 100%.
So that to me,
I must have missed that memo. I didn't go there. I didn't.
That's the first thing I used to do, bro.
For me, I think I was totally different. If we met up and were having a drink or a coffee, and things were going okay, I'm not at the house for a while anyway.
This is before the drinking coffee.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is
before the drinking coffee.
Mate, that wouldn't even come into my head. Can I have a look in your pantry? Or
mate.
Can you take a picture of your
Sorry,
bathroom? To me, that's like I don't even know you want to see in my pantry type thing. If a chick asked me,
that was the photo.
Sardines, mate. That's all we see in your pantry.
If a chick asked me,
That was the photo.
Yeah.
These were the cameras. When I opened the door, it's like, you know what they say when your foot turns, you're psychologically looking to leave. I had that moment. Look,
maybe she got robbed.
Out.
You don't know. Well, she was out. Well, you were out. She got robbed.
Robbed.
Jonesy, that's it. You don't add
Tsunami.
You don't add anything else to it.
Nah.
Words of wisdom.
You know what? Probably the words of wisdom is if you get to the point where it turns into a conversation, whatever the case is, trust your gut. Trust your gut 100% every time, because if there's something that's not doesn't sit right with you, I'd leave it.
Yeah. And
now go back
because that becomes a bigger problem. That
go back
sets a setting.
Go back to all the doubt
for other shit to be okay.
Go back to your relationship, like the ones that didn't work out. You
Which
probably had those thoughts, but you didn't.
You allowed it because you know why? I'll tell you why.
That's
why I
why
allowed it. Because like you know what? Well, I'm here now.
Yeah.
Comfort. At least they're seeing me because
yeah.
You start to doubt yourself too. There's that. That's going to be said too, right? That sometimes you think like, "Fuck, I'm invisible," and this person's giving me the time of day, right? And it's almost
the perfect
like you put
storm.
them on
The perfect storm.
Yeah,
and
it's not the case.
And that's why, like my daughter came up to me recently, a while back, and she said to me, "Dad, she's just asking. My daughter doesn't know anything about my blessing. She doesn't need, like, with or without my permission. Your child will do that, but she focuses on my blessing, right? And I don't take that lightly. She goes, Dad, when can I have a boyfriend? Jamie, right? So what age do you think I can have a boyfriend?
I missed that memo too.
And I thought long and hard about this because I know my answer is going to shape everything. I said to Jamie, I got good news for you and bad news. She goes, what's that? I said, you're never going to have a boyfriend. She goes, what do you mean? I said, because you're wifey material. Right?
That's actually a cool answer.
100%,
yeah.
right? I said, your wifey material. She looked at me and she smiled because she knew, like, when Max and I are with her, she feels so enriched and empowered. We both love her to death and we're both protective of her, right? Yeah. And that's a very powerful thing for a daughter. Any woman that has true masculine energy will never be lost in this world, right? So that's you know, where I was going with this. Sorry, the final bit is, so when she asked me that, I also sat with her and said to her, Jamie, you got to understand, and I'm after both your takes on this. When you're 18, 19, 20, the problem with that, in my opinion, it's actually the most dangerous relationship you can ever have. Now, what do I mean by that? Let's face it. You think you know some things, but you don't. You actually don't have any value to really add to anyone. So you don't know who you are. So how can you add value to someone else's life?
Look.
Hold that, Lou. We'll come back to that in a sec. So it's like, in my opinion, that's why they become the most dangerous, because you don't know who you are. And you know, with like a lot of kids, when they lose their first girlfriend, they become suicidal. So that's why I said to Jamie, I said, you know what? Honestly, if I could turn back my life again, like sort of thing, Like, I'm not going to stop someone having a girlfriend or boyfriend, but in my opinion, I think they are the most dangerous ones. And I'll tell you what my personal experience was. I had my first love, all right? It didn't work out in a healthy way. And I'll tell you why it didn't work out. I was Muslim. Her dad hated me because I was Muslim. So I said to her, listen, I don't want you upsetting your parents. Just don't upset them.
But it hurt you to do that, obviously.
Of course it did.
Killed
It
you.
hurt a lot.
Yeah.
How's this for... Yeah, how's this? And years ago, went to a nightclub like 15, 20 years later. She ended up marrying the same nationality as her. She comes up to me, she sees me, she starts crying. He ended up cheating on her, so I sat with her for an hour, had a drink with her, whatever. And she goes, can you give me a lift home? I said, yeah, no worries. But I knew I was taking my mate with me. So I went with my mate. We took her to the door. She was drunk, dropped off at the door, went inside, went home. That, to me, that's everything, that personal standard. So what happened after, where I'm going with this, because I had a broken heart, I became a womanizer. Right? Oh, I didn't want to, like, subconsciously, I had some payback to do. Not in a sinister way. It's like I was basically trying to protect my heart and just brushing it off as, yeah, let's go out and, X, Y, and Z. So that's how I ended up attracting what I attracted, because I had unhealed wounds. I knew that later on in life. And that's why when guys say, oh, this bitch did this to me, well, hang on. Hang on. Like, on the outside, yes, but you got to understand something, man. Sure as night follows day, you attract exactly what you put out. 1,000%.
What you're saying there in regards to you don't know what you want. Now, both my boys both of them have had relationships. Jack, my oldest one, had a relationship for a couple of years. Kai for 3 years. Now, I'll tell you exactly the conversations I had with both boys, and it was very simple. Deep down in my mind, one of them was going out with his girlfriend when she was 15, he was 17, and the other one, they were both 16. Now, let's be realistic about this. In my head, I'm thinking, as long as they respect each other and they're having fun, which is the main thing, I'm looking at it from my boy's point of view. You're respecting your girlfriends. But the chances of you now, this being your wife down the future, is 99% no, right? But I can't say that. They need to learn that, okay? So Jack finishes his relationship after 2 years, and his comment was, Dad, don't think I'm going to have a relationship again. What a waste of 2 years. That was his comment. My come back to that straight away is, Jack, Dad had about 2 of them, right? Everything's a learning curve, and you can't go through your life thinking, I said, you just weren't meant for each other. Why didn't it work? Was my question to him. Okay?
Take the lessons.
He said she was too immature for me. Can you imagine a 17-year-old telling you and identifying, because there was a 2-year age gap, between 15 and 17 is a massive age gap in maturity.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, they say girls mature quicker than boys at that age, right? This was the reverse. Jack, because of the circumstances, has always been an older soul.
Yep.
So she was too protective of Jack, where she would rein him in. Can't go with your friends, can't do that. It's not up to me to say. He needs to learn, right? I loved her like I love my boys. This is how it's accepting in my house.
What was her home like? Because she was needy, like that was her home.
Her home was obviously parents separated. Dad died tragically.
See where the neediness comes from.
And the thing is, this is where they had their connection. Jack lost his mum. His first girlfriend lost her father.
Yep.
Right? Met the mum. Sweet girl, this and that. But the fact of the matter was, I'm not there all the time. I'm only hearing what's happening from my son. So anyway, cut a long story short, that didn't work, and Jack had moved on, identified that, and whether he chose to stay single for a bit, all I said to him was, and the same thing I said to my other son, time to work on yourself, mate. Get yourself into training.
And he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. Yeah.
And what did you learn?
Yeah. So then Kai does the same thing, 3 years down the track, dating a girl. Again, same thing. She loses a father. My son loses a mother. Now, this is not she hadn't lost her father when they started going out. Lost her father during the relationship. Mate, you couldn't write this shit.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You could not write this shit. Anyway, so that didn't work out. And Kai goes, I could see he was devastated. More so, I think, than Jack. Jack being a bit more mature, but Kai thinking that this thing was going to, I said to him, you know what? As hard as this is to fathom right now, I said it's better that it ended now than in 5 years' time if she's had a kid, because this was always going to come out. I said, time to work on yourself. I said, mate, trust me, each week, each day, right, is going to get better. Don't overthink about it. Start working on yourself. And they both pulled through. Jack's been dating his girlfriend for 3 or 4 years. There was a gap of about, I don't know, I think a year and a half. And she wanted the relationship, his second girlfriend. He was still undecided because he was not suffering from the other one, because they were friends, which was good because they were friends.
He was wary in a way,
So
I'm going to say, yeah.
I just want to commend you on that, Lou. You handled very well by you. So here's a young man who's not only got the best dad behind him, giving him all the right advice, and you see the result, right? Then you have 2 adults, guy and girl, they hook up, they break up, no kids, and it's like the end of the fucking world.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Now, why? Why? Because in my opinion, if you're a guy and you can't handle a breakup with just a girlfriend and you carry on like it's the end of the world, something went wrong somewhere. Now, that's the power of the father's words, and that's what I'm big on. And I'll talk, like, for me, one of the things I'd love to work with is young men, mate, even young girls. I won't work personally, but like, I'd like to attract young women who don't have fathers to hear this stuff from us. Young men who don't have fathers to hear this stuff from us, because it all starts at home. Everything starts at home. And that's why I really, whilst I have some sympathy for a guy breaking up with just a girlfriend, as an adult, as a man, you should be a man. You need to take it like a man. You need to act like a man and move forward like a man. Now, when you have kids, it's a whole different dynamic, right?
Yeah, wow.
Coupled with the legal system, well, you better have some pretty broad shoulders. And if you don't, get to the gym and make them bigger.
But it's not so much the legal system, though, Chad. The crux of that situation is, it seems simple in theory, right? And I don't know where it gets into that grey area, right? It is different. If I'm seeing a woman and we don't have kids, even if we are in our mid-40s, right, and we don't have kids, that should be not. I'm not saying that it should be less a breakup and less a learning curve, but once you decide to have kids, you got to understand that if things don't work out, you need to be humane enough and a parent enough to understand that we will be both parenting and our kids will be number one priority. I know it sounds simple. That's my philosophy. That's the way it was for me. Mm-hmm. If you think kids and kids only and you both love your kids, you will both...
Lou, I'm glad you brought that up. And just for the record,
because
this is exactly my mentality, and this is exactly... And I just want to... This is purely for the record. I want everyone to know this is my mentality. Exactly that. Unfortunately, some of us didn't have those options.
I'm going to say this,
but
right?
We
it doesn't always go that way, yeah?
But the thing is, John, reality. I don't want to sound this as a... this has got nothing to do about bashing women. Kids need both mum and dad.
They do.
Whether they're together or not, the kids do not care one brass razoo whether you're together if you are behaving in a civil and loving, caring manner to the kids.
Lou, so we're here...
Okay? They don't...
Part of the reason why we're here is because clearly things don't happen like that, right? So leave that for now, because I just want to focus purely on the dating apps. Like, there's so much in this. We'll come back to all that another time. And this is our point of difference. Is that here's 3 guys who've been through hell and back. You chose a different path, different mentality, and chose to embody something completely different. Well, chose to embody what really brings value to people's lives. And that's how I survive. That's my driver. That's my fuel. Check-8. So, Check-8 means wait in Macedonian. So he speaks to, I speak to him in Macedonian. We have conversations in Macedonian. So, by the way, I also speak German as well. I get by enough. So, okay, no more bets on the dating apps for you. You done?
You know what I've done? I'll tell you what I've done. I've made peace with a couple of things. All right. The penny drop for me. I mean, okay, the dating apps. I'm actually still active on one of them, and I'm like, you're looking, but it's not really a thing, right? I might swipe on one or two sort of here or there if something catches my attention. And yes, it's the bio and the rest of the stuff. I'll go into it a bit deeper than just the photo. I've kind of backed off and thought I stripped my life back a bit, right? I've focused more on the gym and just being simple, peaceful, and I'll just see what comes.
Are you still open though, John? What I'm saying is,
Yeah, I am.
okay, we're talking about dating apps, but what other alternative have you got at the moment that you foresee? I know you just said that you're working on the gym and so forth, but you're obviously still open in your head about a relationship. What I want to know in that sense is, where do you think that's going to happen? Do you have a social life?
I do.
And things like that, because I think that's important, because if you say you're not on a dating app and all you're doing is being consumed by training in the gym and working, so you're relying on either the gym, the supermarket at shopping, or at work.
Okay,
You know what I
okay,
mean?
yeah.
Because I think the dating apps are popular because of the fact that who is going out in a social life in our age group?
Can I tell you what's most what you're saying? You're right, but I'll tell you the most important thing. It's never to shut the gate, unless you remove the old within you,
Yeah.
all that trauma, all the darkness. The new is never going to come. So you need to remove the old to make way for the new. And I used to love running in the rain for many reasons. One, because many things happen, but because the rain literally washes away the old and it makes way for the new. That's why I love running so much in the rain. And so let's get back to what reality looked like for me. I downloaded an app or two or three, or maybe all of them, because why? My mentality was, why not?
Yeah, you might as well.
Right? New profile, new photos, new bio, and I'm back in the game. Except it's not the same game anymore, and I'm not the same man. So now it swipes, algorithms, seen messages of no reply, conversations that 9 times out of 10 go nowhere, and people who seem endlessly replaceable. At first, it feels exciting, endless options, endless potential, right? But here comes the catch. When you just come out of marriage, options can be dangerous, because you're not just meeting people; you're meeting a circus / zoo / whatever, right? You're comparing them consciously or not to your past. And somewhere in the back of your head, this is where things get interesting. Because after divorce, a lot of people don't just look for a partner, they look for an upgrade. But unless you've upgraded, you won't be upgrading to shit. And, you know, when I say upgrade, okay, the world's going electric, right? But doesn't mean you have to have electric. If you're a man, you can drive an electric car, you can have electric things, but you need to be a combustible engine on the inside, man. And that's how you pretty much get through life. Just because the world's going electric doesn't mean you have to be electric. So when you decide to get the upgrade, you're looking for someone who understands them perfectly, has zero baggage, is emotionally available 100% of the time, shares all their interests, looks incredible, and somehow fixes everything that went wrong before. Basically, a dream woman. But there's the uncomfortable truth. That version of a person isn't real. It's a reaction. It's built from the pain of what didn't work, the mistakes you didn't want to repeat, and the fantasy of finally getting it right. And dating apps, they fuel that fantasy, because every swipe says, maybe the next one's better. Now, why does it backfire? The more you chase this ideal, the harder it becomes to connect with real people. You start noticing flaws faster, you lose patience quicker, you keep one foot out the door just in case something better comes along. And ironically, you end up reacting with the same emotional distance that may have contributed to your divorce in the first place. Not because you're broken, but because you haven't fully processed what happened. So
You get found out pretty quick, though. If you haven't got over some of those scars, you get found out pretty quick. You find out yourself
The
pretty
energy
quick.
shifts in the conversation immediately.
You know my saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In life, we're all going to go through the test of time.
The,
Time reveals
the
everything.
interesting stuff that you touched on there, Chad, was the fact that what I found very interesting was that women that got out of relationships that I spoke to or either caught up for coffee, a lot of the time it was conversations and it didn't get past phone conversation, right? Because that was the thing. So unless there was a connection there wasn't the next stage. What I found with women, that there was more women that were saying that were working on themselves physically to get themselves in a physical condition better, which I found interesting scenario, because I thought, why weren't you in shape while you were married?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden your relationship end and you've dropped 10 kilos or whatever.
That's actually a simple thing to answer.
Now, I wasn't against that,
Yeah.
but what I found was it was interesting how
Reveals a lot.
how many actually took it upon themselves to they weren't happy with what they were looking at in the mirror. Brings me to my point though, is that I never let myself go in my marriage. You with me? You married this person. This is who I'm going to be. Didn't give me a license to be obese while you looked after yourself.
Hold on to that. We're going to come back to the sex.
And so, therefore, what I realised is there is less men doing it, but more women doing it. Do you know what I mean? So
How do women attract men?
Hang on, guys.
Physically.
I
We are physical creatures.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jonesy, I need to keep this on track. So, okay. So now for the cold, hard reality and the truth of what the dating apps meant to me. And like everything in life, it's your attitude at the beginning that will determine the outcome. Now, your attitude may not serve you at the beginning, but like everything in life, you need to roll and adjust with the punches. Now, I'll be honest, I said this before. When I was married, you go for a walk with your single mate, you talk about, how they're going, they talk about the apps. And so I'd be like, far out. I don't plan on getting divorced, but if ever I went there, it's never been easier, right? So, but boy, was I in for a real reality check. How do you? What's my take on them? I think, like everything with the internet, they're really designed to intrude you, but the smart one makes them serve you. So they're a mechanism to move forward, right? So for me, the dating apps, man, I could spend 6 hours talking about this because ultimately, I can say I had fun on them. I had lots and lots of fun. But when I say fun, what do I mean by that? Like the fun was learning from them. Learning, more importantly, what I didn't want to be like or who I didn't want to hang out with. And, when I went on them initially, I remember talking to some chicks and they'd ask me how long you've been broken up for. And I'd be like, 12 months, whatever. They're like, no, you need more time. And I'm thinking, what do you mean more time? I'm fine. I'm good to go. You know what? You think you're good to go, but you're not. So if you're looking for a serious relationship, I think you need to spend a lot of time alone to work out. Because let's face it, when you come out of a long relationship, you don't know who you are. So
Yeah, but I've got a different take on that.
yeah.
Because you could have checked out of your relationship 5 years earlier. So what makes you say that you're not after 12 months? Because you're probably...
because you're still dealing with the reality. So you've checked out mentally, but you're still doing...
There's all this other shit you're dealing with on the way out too. So you consumed elsewhere.
Lou,
yeah?
there's genuine PTSD. Yeah. There is... when I say genuine, you need time. Every wound you'll ever have needs time to heal. And you need time. That time looks differently for everyone. Now, these chicks, I didn't agree with at the time. I felt...
They were right.
But they're 100% right.
They were right. On point.
Yeah, so that's one thing I learned. Now, it's the dating apps are an extension of what your belief systems are and what your standards are. So if you want to go get laid, yeah, you'll get laid. But just understand there's a lot of baggage that comes with that. There's a lot of drama. There's a lot of traps that come with that. And one of the best bits of advice I got was from a good friend of mine who spent thousands of flying hours on the dating apps, 10,000 hours on dating apps. I won't mention his surname, but he knows who he is, or his name at all, I should say. He knows who he is. He actually gave me the best bit of advice. And please don't take this the wrong way, women, but we use some terms, and just like women use terms on us. He gave me very good advice, and this is not a derogatory mentality. It's actually a very protective of yourself mentality. He said, listen, those women are talking to you and they're talking to 10 10,000 other women. And even a good woman, right? She may not be like, she's trying to work out her best options for herself. And I respect that.
10,000 other men, you
Yeah,
mean?
so
Yeah.
men, sorry.
Yeah.
So
Which app are you on, mate?
Could be, could be fun, women too. So he's right. He said, look, he goes, don't get sucked in by these bitches. And I'm not, so just slang here, all right? He goes, you owe them nothing. You owe them nothing. Do the right thing and do the right thing by yourself, and you owe them nothing. So what he meant with that is don't go out abusing. Just have a serious set of non-negotiables for yourself. Don't feel bad. And that feel bad, I feel bad, that actually got me into a lot of trouble along my journey. I felt bad for a woman.
Make peace with that, because that's why I walked out. We laugh about it now, but that's why I walked out.
I'll say this to my daughters.
That's a non-negotiable.
My own daughters, and I'll say this to my own son.
Yep.
If you're not happy in a relationship, don't stay with them because you feel sorry for them.
Yeah.
No. That is, look.
But on the other hand, see, I'm a bit different in left field, right, when it comes to stuff like that. I don't walk at the first sign of a crack, right? Everything's based on how big an issue is it. Because these days, people walk out in a marriage because you didn't make me coffee or you didn't pick your socks up, right?
I agree.
Let's put things in perspective. And I'm a strong believer on this because I've actually seen it happen. Unless we're talking about serious stuff, people come back from infidelity, mate, and give their partner a chance.
I suppose, just to be clear, he's talking about, like, don't be a bitch. Like, don't.
And this thing about, what your mate said in regards to their talk. If a woman said to me that she's online talking to 10 guys, I'm gone, mate.
Done.
Yeah.
I was maximum, if I connected with a girl, I'm not talking to anyone else. I've said that I've met them. I don't have time for that.
You're seeing where that goes first.
You've had good life experience. I'm just trying to tell people what reality looks like. You're strong within, so you're not going to take shit like that.
Yeah.
But he's trying to say he knew I had a good heart.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll tell you what.
And it takes two to tango on this sense
Lou,
about...
Just let me say something that the most dangerous thing in the world, I come from a loving home, right? And I realised it's actually the gift and the curse. When you come from a loving home, it's such a beautiful thing that you go out into the world and you think, what?
Everyone's the same.
Everyone's the same.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
So I actually have a saying. One of the most dangerous situations that people will struggle to understand is when you actually do come from a loving home, because that comes with some danger. What is that danger? Well, you think that everyone's like you. You go out, and everyone's like you and happy. Then what happens is you have a good heart. So you start feeling sorry for people. Yeah. And guess who starts becoming attracted to you? All the wrong people, because they want your energy to feel normal because they have dark.
So I tell you, and you might think, healing wounds, whatever the case. I've backed off the apps for a reason because of that exact thought. You're talking to me and 10 million other people, right? And it's like, it's not authentic to me, right?
No, but
I'd rather...
I get it, John.
Putting it out there in a different way. If it comes my way,
I get what you're saying. But
I'll entertain it that way.
But hang on, look, you have to understand something. So there's two types of I'm talking to 10 other people. There's one who I can use as supply stuff, attention, validation, money, material, right? Or there's the girl that's, she's had her own journey and she's got some serious non-negotiables for herself and she's making you earn it.
There's no problem with that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So cool. So that's what I'm talking about.
In a room.
So that's
how many of those people are in that room.
These
you get what I mean?
These are cool, useful tools and mentality to have when you're on the apps. So for me, it's like far out. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself. I had fun. Look, even when I went on the first date with a chick, right? Like, I knew she wasn't for me. But this is what I said to myself. I said, you know what? Seems like a nice chick, not for me. I'm going to sit down with her. I'm going to have dinner, whatever. And I want to learn.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about myself. I want to add value to her life. And I'll tell you the most enriching feeling I had this time around being single is I like to think, I hope I added value to women's life. Now, what do I mean by that? This girl I went out on the date with, I didn't run. In the old days, you would have just ran or whatever. No, I sat there with her. I want to learn more about me.
And plus, she gets to learn about
herself.
her.
Yeah. So
there's no need for this hostility. It's like meeting someone in public, but we've had to take a different course to get there.
Yeah, it
for the
takes-
coffee.
Lou,
Do you know
it
what I mean?
takes-
So we've had to do it, but our intention in the long term is still the same. But to get
Lou,
to that date, it's not. We're at a bar with
it
me
takes
and you're having a
strength.
drink and a woman walked past and all of a sudden you started talking to her, oh, you're single. perhaps, you know, you want to grab a drink sometime. It's just a different course that we're taking, but our mentality is exactly the same. And I'm like you. It didn't matter whether I connected with her or not. I sat it out. It's not like
You've
it's
got to do
painful
the apprenticeship again.
because you'll make the women learn to respect guys and vice versa. But if we keep standing up and walking out, or if we just treat them for sex, this and that, we're our own worst enemies when it
Look,
comes to that,
sometimes
males and females, right?
Yeah, but-
to get that reputation. If you want to bang away, by all means, bang away. I'm not interested in banging away with just anybody, you know?
I was.
Yeah, but
For a short period, right? And that came out of anger and frustration and everything. Look, I'm going to be truthful.
Yeah.
Okay? I was. Now, that's the cold, hard stock take and the live autopsy I did on myself, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
But you said something there about make the women learn. No, hang on. You can't make anyone learn. You can only make them think,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
But what you meant is you try to do the right thing by them.
yeah, so they understand that it didn't work with this particular guy, but wasn't Chad wasn't Chad really pleasant and a gentleman and stuff
That's
like
my
that?
message here. That's
Yeah.
actually part of what I do.
Yeah.
There's so many women online paying out on men and this and that. Do you know how many messages I've sent them on their actual videos? The nicest civilized message I could send them. In my brain, I know genuine. I like to think I've got a fair idea of genuine people who have been through hell and back. And I like to see, and I've got a fair idea who does it as a business model, right? And I'm sorry, equality doesn't quite work when the average girl showing, there's an accountant, I've got 300 followers all of a sudden, and her tits are down here. Okay?
Yeah.
Accountant, her tits are, we don't have that option. Not all of, like, we made if you train, you may have some chesticles, but that's about it.
But the interesting part,
Hang on, like, so where am I going with this? This is another call out, first and foremost, is to any, I don't want this to be a male-dominated podcast. Please, I'd rather, as much I love John and Louis, I'd rather have females in there with, you know, a pool of rolling guests and hosts so we can add value to society. Now, with those women that I comment on their posts, I can pick them apart, but I refuse to. So what I say to them is this.
join me on the podcast.
I like to think I've had extensive experience with this. Here's what I've been through, just in summary. If you ever like to come on the podcast and add value to what we do, I'd love to host you.
or even your experiences.
Not one response. I spent 2 hours the other day. I've spoken to 2 female coaches, okay, that reached out to me. Second one I reached out to. The first one, she's trying, in my head, I'm talking to her, you're coaching people and you haven't even dealt with your shit. The other one, very nice person. I spoke to her for 2 hours. An hour and 59 minutes. And now, she was generally interested in our journey, not my journey, the kids and I journey. Our journey is a family. There is no I. And she freaked out how I got to the other side and I attracted the woman of my dreams. And this is what the second part of this podcast is. I literally have the woman of my dreams. Like, everything. Like, I sat with God when I would run and I would draw her up and everything, head to toe. So that's what the other side looks like. I don't really like to talk about where I've been. I like to talk about where I'm going. And the guys and girls that don't get anywhere, they always sit on the pity potty. When you walk, I've got a question for people. When you walk, do you look at your feet? Do you look at your feet? Because most people get around life expecting to where they want to get to go, but they're looking at their feet. If you want to take the island, burn the boat. Look to only exactly where you want to go. So back to the apps for a sec. You know, like, you just got to have thick skin. You got to advance. And one of the best buzzes of me being single all these last 4 years is Lou. You had to start on the app. I was a bit angry, a bit transactional. You did what you did. But when I went out in person, like to a club or bar and all that, you know, back in the day, you jump, you know, like you'd be everywhere, like a chook of the head. I actually went out, like, really proud of myself, really knowing what I was all about. And I actually, you know, I wasn't interested in certain women when, you know, they end up in the conversation somehow. The best part was saying thanks, but no thanks. And do you know what else I learned? Oh, I love this story. The shittest form of so-called friend you could ever have is this one. Lou, because I was so comfortable with myself, I got more attention than ever. Because I don't have a big, I I want to
Banner.
come fuck me all over.
Yeah.
So what happened? All the weak guys that I used to hang out with, I call them weak, right? Not all, there's only one or two, but what I learned, and I say, so you're talking to a chick, yeah? Now, she's interested in you, but there's a guy in your circle, he just jumps in. I would never do that. Now, lucky I didn't want to or whatever, but it actually removed the problem for me, which is great. But it also showed you people's low self-worth, and it also showed you that most of the people you hang out with, I trust you in my life, and I actually thinking about this morning when I was in the shower. It's funny what I think about on the way here. I said to myself, if I rang John Camilleri at Louis at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I said, come past 3:03, they will be in the car. Not, oh, what do you need? All I said, if I said to John and Louis, come past. Now, I may be disposing a dead body, right? But John knows there's a reason that body's dead. And even though he doesn't know why it's dead, right? He knows that person's dead for a reason. They're the sort of mates you want.
And there's no questions.
No, they're the sort of mates.
What are we doing?
That's the power.
That's the question.
Well, for one, if you're getting a phone call at 3 a.m. in the
For me,
morning, you must think it's pretty fucking serious,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So if someone says to you, can you come around now? You don't know whether Chad's bleeding to death, just made the phone call, you're on your way. I think it's a no-brainer, right?
It'll be 3:04 because I'll be that 1 minute. The plates are coming off my car because I'm flying.
But on a serious note, it's like your good friends will not drag you into their shit. They won't.
that's
It's a last resort. Your good friends will not borrow money off you. They won't. It's like John, we've spoken about this, right? They won't. It's like the most. Even though they're starving, it's like as long as they're kids, they won't. Your good friends won't drag you into it. They expect nothing except your attention. It's non-transactional, purely proper relation. That's the strength and power and my gift that I have sitting here with you guys. So, and the interesting thing is the ones that have been, we'll call it hard done by the most or have struggled the most, complain about it the least and embody the best. The ones who have been through the least complain the most. The ones who have had no trauma put trauma on them and everyone else around them. We live in still one of the best countries in the world. And let me tell you something. If your happiness is determined by the price of fuel, I can't help you, man. I can't help you. My mentality, like we were talking about something before, and I was thinking the greatest weapon you can ever have is a thing called gratitude. Man, gratitude is your number one superpower you'll ever have. Back to the apps, I want to talk about a guy I was hanging out with, and this is actually very important. So he'd always say, so what happened? I met him in COVID through a friend and all that, and I should have known. He was in a hole, drinking wine and having Xanax or Valiums. Before he met me, he was in a hole. Now, I went to his house. What happened? His house is like a showroom. Showroom was a museum. 4-bedroom, single guy, museum. His car was perfect. Everything structured. What happened to your relationship, bro? Oh, I came home one day and she was gone. Now, that's not ideal, is it?
No.
Looking back, he was suicidal. He was with her for a few years. Came home and she was gone. Did she destroy his house? Did she take him to court? Did she destroy his money? Did she take it?
She just left.
None of that, and he was suicidal.
Now, John, why would a woman do that? The pros and cons of her doing that.
The way I would look at that is she just wants to get out of there at any cost, even at a loss.
Can you fault her for that?
No. So the camera needs to go back on him and go, mate, what happened? How do you push someone fucking like to the point here? You want it that bad? Take everything. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
What did you do, mate? Something's going on.
Now,
Either you've flicked switches in her head or you're controlling, but there's something there that's probably not even been spoken about that you don't even know. What goes on behind closed doors?
no, not necessarily sinister or unsafe or violence. Could be she couldn't even approach you to even entertain these conversations. That's a form of weakness in itself.
But they haven't even had the conversation. She's gone.
Personally, for me, I've always said this.
Checked
I
out.
I'll tell my son, my son and I and my daughters, like, we have the best chats. I always say to him, sit down, talk your way through anything. Don't ever be angry. A woman wants to leave you, she can leave you whenever you want. The funny thing is, I was actually driving the other day and I was asking myself, what's the best advice can a man give his son about women? Man, I asked, and I put that out there, right? Mate, any son that doesn't have a father, or even with a son that doesn't have the ideal father, here's the best bit of advice you'll ever hear about women. You've got to know when to hold them. You've got to know when to fold them. You've got to know when to walk away, and you've got to know when to run. No, that's actually words from a Kenny Rogers song, The Gambler, but it's so true. Again, you've got to know when to hold them, to be there for them, right? Women want love, stability, connection, right? Fold them means they also want some horizontal lambada. They have needs as well, right?
Yep.
They have needs like us. So you got to be good at that too. You got to satisfy that. You got to keep them abundant. Women don't cheat because they want some. I mean, ultimately, when a woman truly loves you, I'm talking loves you, entrenched in you in a healthy way, she'll never cheat on you. And by the way, no woman leaves you or no man ever leaves you. They'll just never with you. They were never with you. If someone's really with you from the start, they won't leave you. They won't. Trust me, I know. Whenever someone's walked out of my life, they were never with me. Never. And I probably wasn't with them. So that's what I say to my son. You got to know when to hold, and any son, know when to hold them. You got to be emotionally there for them. Know when to fold them. You got to fill their needs. Mate, whatever needs they have, you got to fill them. And if you're getting disrespected, you got to know when to walk away. And if someone's coming at you with a knife, which I've been there and done that, you got to run. You got to run, and I'm talking run. Control, Alt, delete. No mercy, no sympathy, nothing. I'm telling you now, when a woman and a man gets violent with you, and you see a side to them that you can't even explain, right? Because it's so dark. Run. No mercy. Yeah. No sympathy. 20 kids, 10 kids, I don't care. The reason why some of us are sitting here today is because we were too nice.
My last bit of advice for the dating app, if we're closing on that.
Oh, we're not closing.
Is the fact that
somebody hand me my boots. I'm about to go skiing.
First of all, I'm going to talk about our age group, because that's the age group I have experience in. You know what? Men and women, if you're choosing to go on, or you've been on, you want to jump back on, you know what? Be very clear on what you want. In the first conversation, be very clear. I'm not judgmental. And at our age group, if you want the sex, you want the sex. If you want a serious relationship, explain what that might look like.
Just be fucking honest, man. Just be honest.
But seriously, there's one thing in life that we don't get a second chance at, and that's time. And works for both men and women. Don't waste each other's times, guys. We're not teenagers and we're not kids, right? So
Luke,
just be upfront in what you want.
Okay, cool, you're right. How do you tell someone, how do you tip them off if someone's wasting their time? Because some people don't know. Some people are gullible. Some people need help.
Okay, I'm jumping online. Am I jumping online because I'm ready and I want to fall in love with the opposite sex?
No,
and I want to build a future,
how do you teach
right?
a guy or a girl if someone's wasting their time? What things to look for?
It's hard unless it's hard unless, I'll tell you something right now. The hardest thing to pick up, and one thing I learned at a very young age, is this. Lying is prevalent. And lying is just thrown out there like it's no big deal. It is a deal breaker.
It's a huge deal breaker.
You lie once.
That's what I love about you, brother.
And I'll tell you something right now. I learned something. I took my accountant to court. My barrister, I was only about 25. Started smiling while I was giving evidence. My brother was giving evidence. Then my accountant's up there giving evidence. And he's turning red like a tomato. And after the day, we had to come back tomorrow, and he turns around and we go, how are things going? To my barrister. And you know what he said? He goes, Lou, let me give you one bit of advice. He goes, anybody can lie in life, but to lie consistently is one of the hardest things to do in life. And I was about 25 when I heard that, and I thought to myself, I'm as honest as they come. And he is so correct, right? The thing is to look out for, if there's lies, if they're hiding something, if they're doing anything, is the fact that stories don't add up. You can have one conversation today, and if you're telling the truth, it flows. There's no thinking, what am I thinking? What did I say yesterday?
Remembering.
Did I tell him that I met this guy in the park? Or hang on, was it dinner? When you're being honest, conversation, it comes out. Any question you ask me, I will converse with you straight
don't have
away.
to think
I've
about
got
it.
the
Yeah.
answer
Luke,
by the time you finish.
it's easy to forgive a child who's who's afraid of the dark, but the real tragedy of life is when men are afraid of the light. So my question to you is why? What's it? So we can forgive a child that lies.
Yeah.
But what, in your words, and John, why? What are the drivers behind? Why is it different when an adult lies? And how important it is to remove yourself immediately from anyone that lies.
Well, I'm going to tell you the experience I had with my kids, and this started very young. Okay, I don't care what happens, and I'm talking young. I'm talking 5, 6, 7 years of age. Don't ever lie to dad. I don't care what it is, whether you're right, wrong, indifferent. I'm here to support you. You're going to make mistakes. I want to know, so I'm there to help you. I want, if you get into trouble in later life and you get locked up or you're in trouble, I want you to ring me first. I'm not judging you, but don't lie to me. And I'm going to give you an example right now. And that's the conversation I had with all 3 of my kids. Alice started crying in the backyard in Newport. And because Kai was there, I blasted Kai, right? Because he's there, and Kai being Kai and being quiet, he copped the tongue lashing off me.
But
right?
why?
Because Alice was crying, so I don't know what happened, and she was crying, so she couldn't explain what happened, right? So I blamed Kai. After about 2 minutes of me, talking to Kai, this and that, Jack goes, Dad, I'm sorry. I pushed Alice over. It wasn't Kai. I went, thanks, mate, for being honest. I had to go and apologise to Kai, but gave Jack so much praise because what I said is kicking in, mate. You're not getting into trouble, but be honest. So when he saw his brother was in trouble for something he didn't do, he put his hand up.
He owned up.
That's where it starts, Chad. Forget about it. 16,
So you got to. What I'm taking away is you got to have the same morals or personal standards that you have with your friends, with your kids.
I'm not judging. I'm totally judging my mates and you and I. We go out and whatever, and you tell me a lie. I'm judging that totally different to my kids as teenagers telling me a lie.
Yeah, but you're using the same morals.
Because we have no reason to.
And personal standards you have with your friends.
Absolutely.
So back to the dating side of things, right? And I think that's where you're going with this as well too. Yeah, okay, being parents and so forth, got that. Now we're at these ages and we're in the dating scene and the lies are starting to turn up, right? Which is where I think you were heading with this too, right? What tolerance do you put on that? Every lie is a choice. You can choose to just own it and wear it and go, look, fuck, all right, you might not want to hear this, you might not like it, but here's what it is, right? Not down the track where you've sort of covered this bit up, and they always start as smaller lies, and there's always bigger shit behind it if you're that way inclined, right? I don't have any tolerance for lies, right? And I'll tell you what, it goes both ways, because if I tell you, look, here's how it is for me, here's how I think, here's what I think is respectful, non-respectful, whatever you're talking about, and I just put that on the table. And respect, if it doesn't work for you, that's okay. I don't have to lie about something like I'm guilty of it.
John,
yeah,
that's what I really, really respect about you and Louis.
It's not hard, man. That's the thing. It's fucking not hard.
This is our point of difference here, is because, like, most people went through our journeys. You could have forgiven us for hating women. Like, we had all the reasons to hate, no chance. And that's why these boys are here. And that's what we're trying to do different. We're trying to unite people.
Yeah.
Again, like, the government cannot touch you if you have your family together. So rather than worrying about the government, take care of your family, and there is no government, right? Secondly, if you like what we're doing here and if we're adding value, please can you like and subscribe and share our stuff around, because we actually want to give back when we do this. I've got lots of plans with this. I want to help people in need. And just to finish off with lying, because I've had such intimate, deep experience with liars, it's actually not the lie that gets my attention. It's the darkness that's entrenched in that person's soul that you never forget. And that is the darkness that you want to steer well and truly away from. That's the problem with lying, is I know exactly where it's coming from. And that's why this show's called Chaddy Issues, by the way, because what we're trying to do here is to show people, literally, you take care of your stuff, you become the best version of yourself, and when you ask yourself all the right questions and you have the right intentions, everything in your life magically appears. And
can I just say, before you finish off, I gave the older people some advice. I want to give the younger ones some advice because young ones at 18 are online. Can I just say something to you young girls and boys that are going to be adults one day? Please skip the dating apps as much as possible. You do not know how much fun we had at your age by going out and meeting people. Secondly, talk to your friends on the phone. You know your close friends and all that? Talk to them on the phone. I keep telling my kids, they're trying to pass messages. You know what? Biggest thing I ever learnt in life and my most fun was actually meeting people face to face. Everyone's different. Everyone has a different story to tell. And you know what? It's so authentic when you actually approach someone out in the street. It's not scary.
No,
And the more you do it, I just want kids to get out of that fear factor of just saying hello and just smiling to someone that you pass on the street. It could be a girl that finds a young boy attractive. Say hello.
Can I be honest? So when I said before about the apps, I couldn't wait to get on them. Part of me is what I meant as well is I just love the excitement of meeting people. So like when you come out of jail, we'll talk about a marriage that wasn't quite, they'll call it a bad marriage is jail, worse than jail. Okay, a bad marriage is the slowest death. So when you come out of that, and I blame myself taking full accountability for my past. So when you come out of that, someone's let you out of jail. The last thing you want to do is go back in, right? So that's the bit I love about the apps. This could go anywhere, and the stories I got in my head, I can't talk about a lot of them online, but they shape me.
And they work because,
man,
as much as we've talked about all this stuff and John's experience, Chad's experience, and my experience, my partner I met online.
Man,
so, you know what? We can only talk about our experiences, and everyone's experience is totally different, but just keep it as authentic as possible because it's like the old, you get knocked down, but you just get back up. You might get knocked down again, but you know what? As long as we learn from the it's not a failure. I don't think we ever stop learning about ourselves.
So what we should be actually doing, right, John, you'll agree, not perfection, not endless swiping, not chasing a fantasy. Instead, get clear on what really matters, your values, not just vibes. Be honest about your own patterns. Slow things down.
Yeah.
If see, look, I'll be honest, the rebound thing, that's 100% true.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Guess what I attracted as soon as I attracted a narcissist. Can you believe it?
Yeah.
But do you know how quick I identified it?
Yeah.
Once you've seen it, you've seen it. Yeah.
I'll tell you. Imagine
familiar.
this. So in her 40s, I basically Control-Alt-Delete. Do you know what she did in her 40s? Because once I went around to visit, we took a visit a mate of mine, right? She must have taken a screenshot or something of his big business name. So when I block, she started ringing all my family, all my circle. 40 years old. Now that's a daddy issue. That's not a chatty issue.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I'm trying to teach people. Pay your bill. Don't go paying someone else's bill. Right? So slow things down. Even if the apps are designed to speed everything up, and most importantly, stop looking for someone to complete you after divorce, because that's too much pressure for any person to carry. And so on a lighter note, I want to share a story. And if I don't get a sponsorship from Bumble out of this one, I don't know what is. So growing up as a child, the best bit about my journey is I've gone back to the real me. Even though, my path took me to meet someone else and I went down the wrong path, but it's not really wrong. If I have what I have now, it's actually not really wrong. I have the best kids in the world. I have the best missus in the world. I've become the best version of myself, the person that I was really meant to be. I have the best people around me. So how can it be wrong? It can't. Sometimes you meet a person in life designed to take you to where you need to get to go. You may not know it at the time, but you just got to go with the flow and accept things for what they are. So growing up as a kid, because I come from war, I used to love watching war movies. I still watch. The only movie I watch now are war movies. I just love them, right? So back. Look, in summary, like everything in life, it's your attitude at the beginning will determine the outcome. You got to learn. You got to fall. You got to make mistakes, but never make the same mistake twice. So, for me, I'll leave with this. Two people can look at the same thing and have a completely different attitude. So, when I was on the apps, I knew ultimately, unfortunately, in the modern world, there's a pretty good chance that that's the mechanism to finding the right woman in my life. Now, I was never in a hurry to find the right woman, but I knew she'd come when I'm feeling the best about myself. And boy, did she enter my life in that exact state, because everything's an energy, everything's a frequency. But so here was my attitude. So I knew that everything's a reflection of my attitude. Now, my friend of mine at the time, he'd be like, "What are you on the apps for? They're all hoes. You're never going to find someone." That's the guy that girl walked out on him. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, that's just your attitude, buddy.
Well, that's his experience.
Yeah. Now, what's your words for they become your world, right? First of all, listen, doesn't matter what you go through in life, you never lose hope, okay? The quickest thing to do is to lose hope and lose faith. Mate, I'll die before I lose hope and faith. That's right. That's my mentality. So, sure enough, not only did Sarah came, but I knew before I met her that I'd say this not from a place of ego. The next girl I meet is going to be the luckiest woman in the world, because I've done so much work on myself, and I had so much to finally give a woman. But watch how God works. I don't know if you played blackjack, right, or poker. You know when someone ups you? I went to up God. He upped me 1,000 times, all right? And for that, I'm grateful to him. So in summary, everything is an extension of your words, your mentality, and your attitude. That's our advice. My personal advice, that's the boys' advice of the apps and how to move forward and stuff. Luz, anything you want to say that I haven't covered?
Yes, one big one, guys. I think I'm going to talk about my experience on the apps and feedback I'm getting from women in our age group that could be 40 and over. Guys, it's not cool to send dick pics, right? They don't like it. Unless the women are lying to me. Me personally, I've never sent one. But I was absolutely dumbfounded on the amount of dick pics women were getting from guys our age. I couldn't comprehend it. So my advice is, it's not cool. If you want to attract a woman, it's not cool. It might be a hit and miss. You might get 1%, but you're actually heading down the wrong path. Don't know whether the younger generation's doing it that are online, and that could go for you guys too. If you're doing it, tell your mates to stop doing it, because I don't think there's anything attractive by it, and I'm going from what the opposite sex is telling me. So stop the dick pics, mate.
Look, for me.
And if you want to respect yourself, even if they ask, you know what? Give this a go. Don't give it. Say you don't do it. Let's see the outcome. Because I think you're disrespecting yourself by doing it, even if you're getting asked.
Lou, when you value yourself, you make people earn your time. And you're a woman, you value yourself, you need to make a man earn your time, right? Because you don't get it back, right? Time, you can't reverse time, you don't get it back. So for me, if I met a chick and she'd ask me, that's a big red flag for me.
100%.
It's a big red flag for me.
If I can just throw this in.
I actually didn't even like getting pictures from women, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't like them. I'm not that kind of guy.
Yeah.
If you, I don't like strippers, all right? I've been there for my mates. In fact, I'll tell you my funniest stripper story. I was there with my mates, and I'm minding my own business, and these two glamours came in. Hey, I'm like, nah, this can't be right. This is not the real world. And I looked around, and my mates who knew I'm not into them, they paid for them. All right, I'm not into them. That's just my thing. I'm not into hookers. Why? Because I'm a hunter. Men are supposed to be hunters. All right. So, and you know what? You want to attract the right woman, she's gonna admire the fact that you're a hunter. So, Johnny?
Back on your earlier point, I was just going to say somewhat cheapens the space, right? And I'm my take on things is my take on things. I've never met a woman that's just been so grateful that shit's come across her screen. It's like made her fucking day. Now, come on, man, right? Like, what's the intention behind it? What kind of reaction is the idiot that goes, send, think's going to happen on the other end? Oh, day made. You know what I mean? Come on.
They think...
Fucking grow up, guys.
No, but they think that their mates find it cool, but they don't understand the opposite sex. I think that's where you're going.
I think...
It's a bit of a child... I think it's kind of childish. You're degrading yourself. And if your mates think you're cool, right, bit of advice, guys.
Send them to
what
your mates.
What your mates think is cool compared to what the opposite sex think it's cool. We're totally different.
And this is why when I see 20-year-olds online doing some content, I cringe, because the person that they are at 20 is not going to be what they are at 30, 40, 50 and so on.
Got it.
So, guys, clearly you now understand that divorce isn't the end of your story. In fact, for me, I'll say this with such conviction. The best thing ever to happen to me personally was my divorce. I thank God for my divorce, for me personally. Every day. And by the way, if you're saying fuck the ex, you're professing to the world that you got a lot of work to do. You want to be at a place where you say thanking the ex. Now, I understand there's things that ex-partners do, like, you know, put their kids in horrible, dark, twisted position. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if your ex has set you free, then you need to thank her. When you start thanking her, everything in your life falls into place. So, yes, we all agree that divorce isn't the end of our story, but it is a turning point. And how you show up after, especially in something as chaotic as dating apps, will shape what comes next. So maybe the goal isn't finding the dream woman. Maybe it's becoming someone who can recognize and build something real. And you know what? I actually get chills, like, because that's what the kids and I did. I believe that's what God wanted for us. He pulled us out of a very non-ideal situation. Look, we lost a house that had 5 toilets, 5 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms. Okay, the biggest problem I had back then was complaining about a cold toilet seat. Okay, because 5 different toilets, 5 bathrooms. We now share a house that we're renting with 1 toilet, 1 bathroom, and never have we been happier. And never have I enjoyed having a warm toilet seat in my life like now. So, in this episode, if this episode hits home, share it with someone who's navigating the same space. And as always, stay honest, stay grounded, and don't let the algorithm decide your worth. And this is Chaddy Issues, and see you next episode.
Thanks, Chad, John.
Thank you, guys.